kind of bad, kind of doesn't make sense in a way. Um, Reunion tries its best to bring it together to make sense, hence the timeline merge at the end of Double Exposure. Um, and that I think trying to with the reunion having it make sense that way, which unfortunately reunion's looking like a copy and paste of the first game, just with like different elements and shit like that, which I don't really care if it's a copy and paste, because they all kind of copy and paste each other if that's the case. um, I think reunion will cook. I truly think it will. I think it'll help make shit make sense. And
Hmm.
again, if people say, like, for the people who say behind or before the storm had terrible writing, go talk to the fucking wall. It's right over there. Because before the storm is perfect. Okay, reunion will also be perfect.
Definitely. And so now that will end off our first segment. Um, Definitely has some great conversations there. I love how this is already playing out. Now, heading to the second segment, we're going to go and hit the rewind button, and we're going to go all the way back to around 2003, which was when the company Square Enix was actually formed. In case you don't know who Square Enix is, they have released. They're not like, how do I say this? They're not foreign to uh, role playing games or storytelling games. They have like released amazing games such as Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Kingdom Hearts. I mean, these amazing selling games that are still talked about from today, which have made so much money. Um, and then we look at they have a lot of IP issues going on right now. They lost a lot of their Western IPs. In case you also didn't know, they also had released Tomb Raider and Deus Ex. Um, Now they sold those. Unfortunately, they lost the rights to it. Um, but in the grand scheme of things, they actually ended up keeping Life is Strange. Now, Square Enix, people saw this as a confusing move because a lot of people thought, why keep Life is Strange over Tomb Raider? Now, some people say it was because Life is Strange is easier to produce, while Tomb Raider is really not. There's a lot of different reasons that may have happened, but what this did tell us in the grand scheme of things for Square Enix that they saw value in the brand. Sadly, the fans really did not. Now, when we look at a company like Square Enix, they're considered a AAA company. Life is Strange, while Life is Strange is a small, emotional, indie style series, and it's being managed by this AAA corporation, and some people find that as a mismatch. Now, we're not going to talk too much about Square Enix. I kind of just want to give the history on the publishers. Obviously, Don't Nod and Decknine are two big creators within it. Square Enix just owns some of the. They own it, but they don't like make the game like they Donut does. Donut was responsible for the first game. Deck Nine, I think, was responsible for Before the Storm. I don't know too much after that. Danny will probably know. Danny, do you know all the which companies made which?
Dontnod made Life is Strange and Life is Strange 2. Decknine made Before the Storm, True Colors, Double Exposure, and now Reunion.
Perfect. So, um, in 2013, I think it was about that time is when Don't Nod and Square Enix actually merged together to create the beautiful masterpiece of the original Life is Strange game. Now, again, we're not going to get too much in the second segment. There's only one question I really have for you guys, unless you have some other things to talk about within this segment. But my big question is, do you think Square Enix actually understands what fans want from Life is Strange?
Ooh, that's good.
And now I locked in. I locked in.
You did your
Okay,
research,
okay.
I'll tell you that. Um, I'm gonna say yes. Um, I'm gonna say yes because obviously Square Enix is the publisher. And while I don't think they true, I don't think they're responsible for listening to the fans. I think that's more Decknine because they're making the game. But I think Square Enix, I don't know, like I don't really hear too much trash talking about them from Life is Strange fans. I think a lot of people applaud um, Square Enix because they're essentially just the publisher. They don't really do anything else. Um, I think the only thing people are mad about at them is uh, they ended their partnership with Dontnod, which sucks. But I'm glad Deck 9 is here, and Deck 9's great. Um, but I think Square Enix is moving in the correct direction. I just think it's all up to the people who develop the game because Square Enix just publishes it.
That's fine. Do you have anything else for us, Lydia?
No, I completely agree with what Danny said.
Right, right. All right. Well, that's where our second segment went for a little bit of a shorter one. The third one might be a little bit longer. We'll see how it goes. So let's all be serious for a little bit. Double exposure was supposed to be a very big deal. That's what we're going to talk about now. Double exposure. What really went wrong with the game? Truly, the game had beautiful graphics. I mean, we saw this shit in some 4K. Like this was truly a beautiful game,
It was.
and you know some little groundwork that we'll lay out here is Max was brought back, something that the fans really wanted. Of course, they also wanted Chloe. They did not really get that. They kind of reunited them, but through a fucking letter, so they didn't really fully do it. Sadly, though, there was a lot of budget put into the game. I don't have the exact numbers, but it was definitely a lot of budget that was put into that game. Sadly, though, it financially underperformed, and Square Enix had actually labeled it a huge loss. Now, looking at an article from the PlayStation Lifestyle, the Life is Strange double exposure sales apparently are had bombed. Like we're talking, they had lost over 3.5 million on the game, probably even more. And of course, these numbers could be true, could be false. But for the most part, I think we can all go ahead and sit here and agree that this game bombed hard, especially for what I think Square Enix was looking for in the game financially wise. Um, Now, this game, I'll put it this way: the game really tried to walk on a tightrope between respecting the fan endings, and I think Danny definitely put a great point on it from earlier, which is what I'm about to say here. It walked on a tightrope between respecting the fan endings and telling the sequel. And sadly for this game, it really fell off. Now, a lot of fan reactions were Chloe's absence. Felt really intentional, not organic. Not It felt like they deliberately left her out, and a lot of people I think took that the wrong way or were rubbed off the wrong way. Um, Now the canon ambigu. Hold on, sorry, tongue got
Ambiguous.
twisted there. It really frustrated a lot of players. Thank you about that. It really frustrated a lot of players. People felt like the whole canon stories were just being jumbled around like fucking juggle balls. Like people felt like that shit was being juggled everywhere. Um,
Whoops.
if and to some people, it even felt like a corporate compromise instead of creative confidence. And so that leads us into a discussion prompt that I have for us here. Um, do you think Double Exposure failed because of bad writing or because Square Enix or Deck 9 was scared to commit?
That's a good question. I think a lot of it had to do with bad writing simply because of one writer who fucking just bombed it and ruined the writing to that game, which when we play, I think you'll see it. Um, as for Scared to Commit, it's I think it's really like you see it with a lot of like series, especially like oh, what's another like series I can compare this to? Like The Walking Dead. Even though that's a fantastic, chill community, wonderful games. Um, if you're like they weren't scared to take a risk though. I will give them that. I respect that. They took a huge risk, and unfortunately, it just did not get executed right. I think. Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
The question.
Yeah.
Do you think Double Exposure failed because of bad writing or because Square Enix or Decknine was scared to commit?
Okay,
Or,
thank.
well, don't forget the or part, put like a slash in between it.
Okay. Thank you. I don't think they were scared of committing. I think it's hard to please fans in general. I think it's just hard because no matter what you do, you're gonna piss off a group of like fans. You're just gonna piss them off. There's no like
Definitely.
around it. Um, like I think of this like with The Walking Dead season 3, The New Frontier, that was poorly received because it did not have Clementine in it. Clementine wasn't the main character. It was a new cast and crew. Um, and the writing was kind of piss poor. I cannot lie to you. Um, and I did enjoy that game. I tend to like games that no one else likes, but um, I do think that in a way they kind of disrespected both endings because yeah, what we got Max back, but it didn't feel right. Which I'm glad it's adult Max. I'm glad she's an adult. I can relate to her. She's not a cringy ass teenager anymore. I think her writing got better. Like I think her as a character got better. Um, but I think overall in general, Dontnod, not Dontnod, Decknine took a risk. It unfortunately did not execute right, but I commend them for taking a huge risk. Um, I commend them for at least trying. I don't call this a cash grab like everyone's saying it is. I think the poor writing had a lot to do with Chloe's character and how they did it. And like I said, there was a writer who had a vendetta against a fucking fictional character, and they just basically wrote her out. They wrote her out in a piss poor way. I would have liked to see how like a kind of a fleshed out like maybe flashback scene or just kind of like um a better way of them showing why they broke up and how. But I do agree that that was kind of piss poor. I think it was terrible. Um, I uh, I think some of the writing is kind of fucking awful in the game, but not all of it is. Not all of it was. Um, I think a lot of it was really good. I you can tell where the writing was good and where it was bad. You can definitely tell that part. Um, but I don't think it's a corporate thing. I unfortunately think fans are just you're either in their good graces or you're not is how I truly see it.
Definitely. And Lydia, I know you don't know too much about Double Exposure, but I'm not just going to skip over you. Is there anything you'd like to add to that? Good talk. I think she might be doing something. All right. She might be doing something. All right.
Sorry, what?
No, you're good. Just forget anything. Forget what I said.
Oh,
So we're
okay.
gonna go and move on to the next segment.